Yeah. So time to event refers to the amount of time that passes from the start of study to until a specific event was happened. So that event might be death or disease progression or recovery. So whatever the events. So as per the oncology, some events we are specified. So based upon the event, so the time from the study start to the event. So we are calculating the duration of the time. So in the months or days. So that we can call it as time to event. Okay. So we already discussed this one like so patient one 3 months, patient two 5 months, drug A we have taken, drug B 8 months and 10 months reaches to the one. So what happened the median? So we are calculating the drug A and drug B. So which one having the highest? So that drug is a more effective to prolonging that event. Okay. So now I just open the specification file of ADTTE. So here these are the variable they want to include, and here so these two parameters they want to be included in the TTE dataset for the study. OS nothing but overall survival. So total until the death. Okay, so from the treatment start date or study start date to the death, how much time it reaches for individual treatment and duration of the response by investigator. Okay, these two parameters they want to be included in the TTE dataset for the study. Okay, yeah. So let me start the programming. So what are the variables we included? So we make it as a macro variable so that whenever we call, simply we can call this macro variable. Yeah. So first of all, this information will get from the um, yeah, here you can see. If you read this information, you can see the ADT variable to derive this param series. So the data set they use already existed ADRS. So if you created the ADRS first, so we use that ADRS data set. We haven't created it, so we can take directly from the client ADRS. Okay, ADRS data set they want to take. So first we have to take the ADRS and ADSL and club together. So directly the TT data set we can take from the ADRS, not any HGTM. So that is why most of the time ADRS dataset they created first and ADTT later. So we have already ADRS there, right? So we use that ADRS response related dataset. Okay. So now mm, proc sort data equal to ADaM dot ADRS out equal to ADRS by use of JD and run, and ADSL also we can take and we merge RS and ADSL. So merge together. Okay. ADSL. subject should present in the both the data set always.
And spelling mistakes.
Thank you. Yeah. So now we have data set rs underscore SL containing all the variables from the ADSL, all the variables from the RS data set. Now, so the first parameter will focus first. Okay. So first parameter. So the parameter name is duration of the response by investigator. The duration of the response by investigator. So here you can see, yeah. So this ADT you can see here, you can see set to the PD. There is a PD. So I just make it a simplified here. Yeah. So here set to the PD ADRS ADTT. If there is an observation ADRS where param CD equal to PD, aval C equal to this one, and annual flag this one. So else death and like this. So just copy and just read it once. Okay. So set to the PD date ADRS ADT if there is an observation in ADRS where ADRS PD avals equal to Y and this one. Okay. Else set to the death date if there is an observation in ADRS where this one, and else set to the last tumor days. Okay. So yeah. So here ADRS param CD PD ADRS death ADRS LST ADRS, else set to the start date. Okay. So let me comment this and write the coding according to this one. Okay. So data underscore ADRS underscore PD. Okay. So first PD related, right? Set. The data set name is RS underscore SL. Okay. So if the given what every time anal 10 flag equal to Y for all this one. So if anal flag equal to Y, then do, okay. If the param CD equal to PD and so what they mentioned aval C equal to Y, then just I am sending this type of information into this data set. Okay. So I'm going to create multiple data set at a time. So in that first data set, so if ADRS, PD nothing but progressive disease. In the RS data set, PD nothing but progressive data set. So this data set, progressive data set and aval C equal to Y related all the observation that to anal flag equal to Y observation, we are creating this data set. So this data set containing all the progressive. So let me show you the param series. Here you can see these many param series. One is cancer therapy, LOCS. So many param series are derived in the ADRS. In that, so PD, progressive disease related, all the observation we send into one data set. Okay. So this data set rename equal to. So what is the date is there in this observation, so I am creating the ADT underscore PD. So to avoid any confusion, and the sequence number for this one is sequence underscore PD. Okay, and just give the n and run. So you can see underscore ADRSPD. We have two observations. So in this only we have the param CD PD. Okay. So this is progression by the investigator. Okay. And in the similar way, second one, you can see the death related. We created one more data set, ADRS underscore death. Okay. So the date I am giving as death, and this variable I am giving as death. Okay. So here just simply copy this and paste it here, and the param CD is death. Okay. So this type of observation I am sending into the data set death. Okay. So there are two observations for death as well. To subject death, the sequence number we are giving as a sequence, and so the date also we renaming as ADT underscore death. Okay, fine. So next, after death, LSTA, last tumor assessment. Okay, so let me ADRS LSTA, and here in the death place LSTA, and the variable for the sequence I renaming as LSTA, a sequence LSTA, and here so param CD equal to LSTA, and we are sending that all type of observations into LSTA dataset. So LSTA we don't have any observations because no subject was met the criteria. Okay, so fine. Next. Okay, so let me check with 1 minute. Yeah, here start date purpose. One more thing is there here. So ADRS ADT when param CD equal to, and this eval same condition here as well. Okay, so param CD CRSP eval CY and this one. So what I do for this also, I created one more data set here, ADRS CRSP. So ADT CRSP and sequence also we give CRSP. The param CD equal to CRSP. So same condition, eval CY, annual flag equal to Y, and so we are sending that type of observations into this data set. Okay, there is no observations to having this param CD as well. Okay, Yeah. So once we created this data set, yeah. So DOR, death related, DOR, duration of response related data set, the parameter we are going to derive. So this parameter, this is a param CD, this is a parcat 1, parcat 2, parcat 3, and how to derive this ADT for this parameter, and start date, sensor, event description, and this CNSTD, what is this name? Sensor date description related information for this parameter. So we need to derive all this parameter, all these variables. Okay. So let me start the derivation ADTTE underscore duration of response. Okay. Set. So what is the data set? ADSL. Okay. So n equal to A. So let me check here. Any ADSL specification we can see first. Okay, experience and this one. So nowhere. Okay. So ADSL in equal to A. Then second data set merge together, not set. Okay, sorry. So second data set. So we can give A data set and death. Otherwise, we can write like this. Better to the data set name also death you can give. And next death, death and PD also there. Right? Equal to PD. And the PD death LSTA. So all this merged together by use of JID. This one. Yeah. So now one by one we'll see. So ADT derivation. ADT first we focus on this ADT derivation. So as per this ADT derivation, what they mentioned, set to the PD date. If ADT there is an observation, this one. So we already filtered and create the data set PD, right? So this PD data set, right? So if so, first we will write the param CD name DOR and so this was done and start date what they mentioned. Start date purpose we created. So start date purpose we created. What is the start date? IDT param sheet CRSP and this one. So this was we are created for this is a ADT and this is a purpose we created which data set CRSP data set, right? In the CRSP AD data set ADT is ADT underscore CRSP. So this we can assign. Okay. So next, this we can write the source domain to get this information is ADRS. So where we are taking all this information from the ADRS data set, and the source where. So which is the source variable is ADT. So ADT is the date. Okay. And first thing is first what we mentioned. So if this is a PD data set, so PD related data we created this one, and this data set we created this one. Okay. So if PD are death, then so here sensor variable you can see set to 0 if PDR death occurred. Okay. So if PDR death occur, sensor they want to give equal to 0. Else CNSR sensor equal to 1. So what it means? So PD or death. So it was happen. So we are giving the sensor variable to 0 those subject. So who are having this event. So progressive disease or death was happen. That event was happen to the subject. We are giving sensor equal to 0. Who are not having that event are free from the event. So we are giving the sensor variable equal to 1. So here the PPT, let me open the table. Here you can see. So that time sensor equal to 1 event free related variable subjects we are taking and no do these tables, right? Hazard ratio and related. So here the sensor related one nothing but so who are not having that event. So here we are creating. So whoever having the progressive disease or death means the events were happening. So those type of subjects they give the sensor equal to 0, and the remaining subject they give the sensor equal to 1. Okay. Yeah, this variable was done. And next the start date and AD start date also done ADT. So ADT what they mentioned, if it is a PD, if PD then do. So PD in the sense who are having the observations in this data set. Okay. So ADT equal to so ADT underscore PD. So here you can see ADRS data set PD. So ADRS PD. So ADT we are renaming as ADT underscore PD. So ADT equal to ADT PD, and the event description. Event description was, so here carefully you can read. So set to the disease progression if there is any observation from the PD and anal flag equal to Y. So they want to give the event description as disease progression. Okay. And next here SRC sequence variable equal to. So they here you can see subject experience. Already we created the sequence number also renaming, right? So just assign that sequence number here. So first PD, next. So here they mention, so set to the PD else, if not condition else death related. Okay. So else if death. else if death, then do. So that time ADT you can see ADT underscore death and event description equal to, what is the event description? Yeah. So second line you can see the death and the sequence number death. Okay. If this not met the criteria, then third line is going to LSTA. So just copy this and paste it here. If LSTA LSTA and event description is large tumor assessment and the sequence number LSTA. Okay. So finally else do. So here the final condition what they mentioned. So first PD, next death, next LSTA, last you can see. So they given the condition like this. Else set to the date of response plus 1 day. So ADT equal to start date plus 1. START date. Okay, plus 1. And the event description for this one is so confirmed response plus 1 and the SRC sequence equal to missing. And here you can see first PD death LSTA else leaving as missing. Okay. So ADTTE DOR. So this is a duration of response related. So param CD equal DOR, parcat1, parcat2. So what are the variables we are added? Source variable, sequence, date, and all these parameters you can see, event description and etc. Okay. Yeah. So ADT, let me format this one. There is no uninitialized, right? Fine. So keep aside. Next, we'll focus on this overall survivalences. Second parameter. O is nothing but overall survival from the treatment start date to the death, how much time it will take. That is the overall survivalences. So from the treatment start date to death. Okay, that is why. So data ADTTE underscore OS and merging the ADSL n equal to A and the death related data set we already created. ADARS death, death by use of JID, if and B. So there is no sub. Okay, B is not there. Okay, there are two subjects. Death was there. Yeah. So one by one we'll see. For the start date, so what they mentioned. So set to the date of first exposure treatment start date. Okay. So start date for this parameter. So they want to map the PRT SDT treatment start date, and the param CD for this one is overall survivalences OS, and here one by one we'll see. Yeah, ADT. So set to the death date if there is an observation from the death and annual flag available. So otherwise this one. Okay. So if the observations related to the death, then do. So first one is event description equal to, what is the event description here? So death subjects was died. So event description is death. Okay. And sensor variables here. Set to the 0 if death has occurred, otherwise 1. So death related 0. And ADT. So ADT, we can see the death. ADT we renamed as ADT underscore death. And source domain and source where, these two only. We can also check. Source domain is ADRS and source where equal to ADRS. And next source sequence SRC sequence equal to, so A sequence underscore death. Just add. Otherwise. So if the subject is related to the death data set, fine. So the remaining subject, for example, ADS 10 subject, death is 2 subject. The remaining 8 subjects related, we do here. So event description is, so just copy this one, paste it here. So event description is, so alive. So the remaining subjects are alive only, right? Alive. Sensor, they are free from the event. So sensor equal to 1. And the source to domain, the ADT, so let me again here read the ADT once again. Set to the death date if there is observation from this one where ADRS death and aval flag. Okay, so fine. Else set to the last known to be alive date ADSL LST if this date is post time the event origin. Otherwise, set to the time to event origin. Okay. So here they mention last known alive date. Okay. So if this variable last known alive date is greater than to the, so what they mentioned, last known alive date if the date post time event origin. So after this one post time greater than missing, then do. In this scenario, the ADT they want to keep as this one, and source where for this here You can see the source var. So set to the ADT if there is an observation. Set to the this one when the alive date is post origin. Okay, the second condition related, the source where is this one. Okay, so where it is coming from, and this one they mentioned here. So sensor record last contact where TT is set to the this one. Otherwise treatment start date. Okay, so for sensor record set to the last contact. Okay, so this one we give as this is sensor date description. Sensor date description is the last contact. Okay, else do. So else do. So this is a condition. Even if this not met, then what to do? Else do ADT. So as for here, you can see. So set to the date. Otherwise this. Otherwise time to event origin date means start date. ADT is equal to start date. So source where for the second condition is, so the second and this one post time, and otherwise set to the treatment start date is the source where, and for this, so set to the treatment start date. Okay, so this do this end, this do this end, and this do. So we need to write one more end. So every time we are creating the new variables, right? So we can assign the length to avoid any truncation here itself. So length of the event description, and this one source domain and source where. You can also check source. Here this is a 10 and this is a 50. Source where 50. Okay. Oh, do death do end else do end. Okay, one more and extra. Yeah, here ADTTE underscore OS to observations. So the param should equal to O we derived. So next, so we set these two parameters together. Data parameters all set ADTT. So do DOR ADTT OS. Okay. Fine. So just calling this macro variable. So param underscore all you can see. Yeah. So let me keep this into the return statement so that we'll know. Okay. So here you can see study ID, use sub GID and race, etc. And from here onwards, parameter, param CD. So these are all the DOR and these two are this one parcat 1, parcat 2, parcat 3. So these I think parcat 1, parcat 2, parcat 3 coming from the RS. So again we need to be modify as per this one. Okay. So here we haven't applied the parcat 1, parcat 2, parcat 3 for this one. So what are the variables? These three. So let me apply one by one. So first parameter. So parameter, mm, yeah. If param CD equal to DOR, then the parameter equal to duration of response by investigator. If param CD equal to OS, then parameter equal to overall survival. You can see the now parameter duration of response and this is the parameter and parcat 1. So parcat 1 how they want to give. So parcat 1 time to event. Both the variable, both the parameter they want to give directly the parcat 1 equal to time to event. Okay. So time to event. Previously the parcat 1 other thing. Why? Because so this information we are getting from the ADRS. So the parcat 1 now is the time to event. Next parcat 2. So parcat 2 is optional, but still parcat 2. So before it is coming, right? So what I do here, uh, param CD equal to duration of response, then parcat 2 equal to investigator. And it is a OS. So they don't want to give anything. Simply you can keep it as missing. Here you can see only investigator was given to the first parameter, second parameter they don't want to give. And in the similar way, so parcat 3 also same thing. Yeah. So they want to keep it as a missing for parcat 3. So param underscore all. So parameter seed, parcat 1, parcat 2, and parcat 3. So next eval and eval units. So if not missing the ADT and the start date, then do. So how the ADT eval they created? Go to here, and here you can see the eval specification. So ADT minus start date plus 1 divided by 30.4375 in a weeks. So they want to keep everything by weeks. So it is a week, so they want to create as a month wise. So that is why 30.43, because some months are 30, some months are 31, right? So they given 30.43. So if not missing of ADT and start date, then the eval units are, we are calculating in the form of months, the duration. This is the main variable. Why? Because so ADT nothing but time to event. How much time from the starting to the that event was happening? We are calculating the duration. That duration in the form of months here, and the days are the months. So we are calling ADT minus the start date. Okay. So if you are calculating directly, we'll get the days. So if you want to months, 30.4375 and EFFEL. Okay. So now why eval equal to means because start date was not there. So why the start date was not there? Okay, so let me check why the start date was missing for the duration of response. Mhm. Treatment start date there, right? So treatment start date there, start date. Okay, so here the start date, CRSP related variables only, they given the start date, right? So CRSP related, we don't have any observations at this moment. CRSP, okay, CRSP, uh, ADRS, CRSP. So we don't have any observations. So that is why start date is missing. So no issues. So if we don't have that observation, so we can keep it as start date missing only. No issues. So eval equal to, we are not calculating the eval in case of that one. So as per the derivation, start date should be taken for the DOR is, if the observations are CRSP, then only they will consider that start date they will take. Otherwise, so they are not taking the treatment start date. But in case of here, so they will take the treatment start date for the overall survival. Okay, as per the derivation only be done. So eval units, what is the length? 40. So at the truncation. Yeah. Next, ADT and next ADY. So how the ADYs we derive? Same thing. ADY equal to, so previously we done right. So ADT minus treatment start date. Okay. So if ADY greater than or equal to 0, then we have to add the plus 1. ADY plus 1. So if ADT not equal to missing and SDT not equal to missing, then so we already do it. As per the CDISC rules, there is no day 0, so that is why we are adding. So we done this ADY derivation, LB also, and here what is this EFFL? So maybe so this was not there, I think, from the ADSL. Yeah, and multiple then specified source where event description. So what is the event description? 200 and one more source where SRC where is 50. So whenever you encounter this multiple length issue, so try to give the same length across all the data set. Okay. Yeah. So multiple lengths warning was done. So next missing values were generated performing observation of missing value 1629 here. Mm. So here if editing not equal to missing and the start date also not equal to missing. So this type of observations only you derive the eval. So now everything clear. Param underscore all. So here param CDs and parameter category, parameter category 2. So category 3, this is the eval. So eval is that eval coming from the other data set. So what I do here, eval. So eval was not, was there because start date is missing, right? And ADT, ADY, sensor variable, and event description, and this one, and source domain, source variable, and source sequence.
We have to change the format of the start date. Yeah.
Yeah, will do. Yeah, yeah, start date. Start date and ADT also we need to change. Start date and ADT also we have numbers. So ADT. ADT and start date. So we have changing the date. So once we done this, all the parameters. So you can see now. So two parameters we are derived. So how many, So DOR and OS. OS having two subjects applicable to, and the duration of response by investigator was applied to all the other subjects too. Okay. And once we done, simply we apply the attribute sections and send this data set into the permanent library. So as you know how to apply the attribute sections, and finally you send your data set into the permanent library. Okay. So apply the attributes and send your final data set into ADTTE. So this is a complex data set because uh, that parameter derivation first time itself, seeing something complex because ADT, start date, and everything you can interlink and you write the code. Okay, so one by not one by one. So simply, understand first what are the variables need to be derived, then start writing the code. Time to event analysis dataset. Okay. So what I suggest to go each and every step, so mentioned in the specification file. So just to go to okay. So study ID, use of JID, and so all the variables. This starts from here. Param CD, parameter category. So start date, ADT, device sensor, event description, and etc. One minute, ADTT underscore OS. It is a death. Why? Okay, so if this condition met, this one, if this condition met, this one. So, so from the ADRS also these variables are coming, right? So that is why what I do. So ADRS, here itself I am dropping this variable so that so new variables will not going to overlap. Okay. What happens sometimes this may be overlapping to that one. So these three, and so aval and aval C also, aval C.